And how big was Jaden's kind of pace of getting in the lane and doing what he needed to do?
Yeah, it wasn't as much of just going from man to zone or zone to man. It was, and they've shown it before, obviously. It was just them going to zone, and are they going to stay in zone, or are they going to, go to man within that possession? I think that's the one thing. And it's not like it's rocket science and it's that hard. You just don't have a high volume of experience of going against something like that. I thought Coach Howard did a fabulous job in preparing their team and really kind of keeping us off base. But the other thing is we had some really good looks that didn't go down for us. So we had some threes that we liked that didn't go down. We had some shots around the rim. Zach did, Jaden did. Travion converted almost everything he shot. Where, I think in time those shots would go in a certain. So it's sometimes you look at it and you get results based, and you really should be process based. Just take good shots. You feel good enough about your group. But we didn't, we really didn't rely too much because they kind of stayed spread on our threes in the second half. We just said, take what they give you. We had more opportunities in the first half to shoot threes. So I was proud of our guys, but like I said, I thought Michigan did a really good job, in their scheme.
What's your message to Travion on going for steals? I know you don't want him to pick up touch fouls, but he's so successful at reaching in and getting the ball.
It helps you in certain situations, like the end of the Iowa games. He gets a couple steals. Against this game, he gets a couple steals. Then there's times when he goes and reaches, and you got to have your hands up for passes. So it helps you at times, and it hurts you at other times. It's one of those things where he's got to really read the situation. And if he can't get to it, you got to have your hands up. If you're swiping at things you have no chance to get, those are the ones you got to get your hands up. But if they're going to be loose with the basketball, he does a good job of – he not only got steals on the ball, but he got a deflection in the first half, and he got a steal in the second half on passes. He was in a stance, and he was alert. I thought he played great.
Hey, Coach, talk about Mason's play, his energy, what he brings. When the players were in here, they were kind of deferring to Mason that he's like the unsung hero of this team. What's he like to you and on this team?
Well, he's very efficient, first of all. He's the most efficient player in college basketball in the latest rankings. He takes charges. He gets on the glass. He gets layups, takes open threes, makes his free throws, plays hard. He took 2 charges tonight. It should have been 3. And just begging guys to take charges. And finally we get a guy that's going to get 3 and they don't give it to him. But he's been great for us. Super attitude, great effort. And that's what you need. You need that balance, especially at that position. When you have good bigs, if you can get someone who can pass at that position and play that and be efficient, that role definition at the 4, he really epitomizes that.
Just a quick evaluation how you handled the press and
right. We had to change something to come up there and screen and kind of jar them. After we did that, we did a pretty good job. We leave the ball handler before. And so, what we did to have a couple of those miscues, you still shouldn't turn it over. I'd rather get a 10-second count than turn something over. But we don't do a good job of helping them. And then when Travion's in the game, Travion really helps because he can flash to some open areas and find those guys. But I think after we switched that, our guys did a good job. But it's almost like I talked about this, we prepared for Florida State. Iowa's different, but still we prepared for Florida State, and we went through a lot of stuff from a full court scheme. And then when we got there, I didn't do a good enough job of preparing it. But I just thought they were ready from that preparation there. It wasn't like we didn't, you only have so much time in practice. But then once we went back to Iowa, our guys were great. And then tonight, they don't do it all the time. They do it some. They do it every game, but they don't do it a lot. And then, I just have to give it more time. We went through it. We worked on it. But, you're playing Thursday night, and then you get back and you spend the night there, and then you spend the night in Indianapolis, and you're having, 40-minute practices. You're having 50-minute practices. We haven't had a day off in 2.5 weeks, and so we just keep playing a game. And then so sometimes that prep, I'm like, let's get them off their feet. Let's don't do things. I got to keep doing certain things, but I don't want the practice to be that long. I want them to get off their feet. So you really get into a tough spot there. But I thought once we adjusted what we were doing, our guys did a good job.
Did not getting called for a foul in the first half represent defensive discipline on Purdue's part, or was that just kind of the randomness of
just kind of
basketball?
The game, kind of was flowing. It was There wasn't a lot of whistles. Like, we had 2 different times where we had to have a guy at the scores table, and they would literally sit there for 3 minutes. It affected guys' minutes. Guys were just sitting there forever on 2 different instances with it. But, no, I thought we did a good job. I thought they let them play a little bit more on the interior, especially when those guys were going into their shots. But it was both ways, and, Hunter Dickinson really kind of set the table for him with his ability to make threes. He has 9 threes in his career, and if he didn't put his foot on the line, he'd have hit 4 in the first half. So he's tough. If he's making threes, and obviously he's great inside, and the way he can pass, that's a real tough cover.
A week ago, you sat in here and made a reference to planes, trains, and automobiles. Did you guys have your own kind of little experience with that, trying to get back from Minnesota?
Yeah. No. When you're going to spend the night and you're staying there, that's one thing. The problems happen is like when you get like on a tarmac and you're waiting to fly and you sit on a plane. We've all done that one. You sit there for 3 hours. Now you got to get back off. Now you got to go get a bus. Now you got to get back to the hotel. Now you got to do it all over again. And so, but we knew we were staying in Minneapolis, so it was easy. We were going to do the same thing, so that's not a big deal. Then when we flew back the next day and got to Indianapolis, the interstate was shut down, so then we stayed there. But that was easy. So it really wasn't that. In terms of energy, like that's what you want. You want your guys to be prepared and have energy, but our classes were canceled Thursday and Friday, so it was okay.
You're going to see them again on Thursday. Are there any? That's kind of a unique circumstance here. Is this going to be an advantage for anybody? Is this going to be a disadvantage for anybody? Obviously, it goes both ways.
I don't know. I'd answered if we were playing nobody before then, right? But we got to play a game before then, so we're going to play Illinois on Tuesday. So that's going to be a tough game. It's just like this is a tough game. They're all tough. So we'll see.
Coach, what does it mean to be the coach when you win the 1,000th game in the Big Ten regular season?
This was the 1,000th win for Purdue? In Big Ten. Cool. I should read the game notes, huh? Yeah. Yeah, if you give them to me in time, maybe I'd have read them. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Purdue's got great tradition. It's a great basketball state. It's a great basketball conference. There's just like so many good things. If you haven't come to Mackey Arena and experienced that right there, that happens all the time. That just doesn't happen when Purdue plays Michigan. Like, we sold out our exhibition game. Like, it's a great experience for fans, but it's just just lucky to be a part of it as a player and as assistant coach and as a head coach. There's a lot of good things going on at Purdue. All right, thank you.